Hey everyone, it's Wednesday, time for a little wisdom. Hope everyone is doing well. Back in the office after having been off for a week, which has been another adjustment, kind of back in. And of course, things are sort of pulled back a bit as far as activity and movement within the city. I have continued to keep tabs on hospitalization and censuses in the hospitals, and they have not shifted dramatically. The number of ICU beds remains somewhere around 70% occupied, and the number of ventilators still available is less than 40%. So we are still very well situated as far as availability. I think it's important to understand, for everyone to understand, that hospitals tend to prefer to run at 100% capacity. That's where they make money, so to speak. So having availability is actually unusual in the hospital setting in terms of hospital beds, because they do like to run near capacity. So most of our hospitals are maintaining availability, which is really great. But we're not seeing significant alterations in the numbers of beds and the censuses that we see in the hospitals, at least in Dallas County. And I check our mayor's Twitter feed. I'm not a big Twitter person, but that's what I do to evaluate and to check on what we have going on in Dallas. And it's a good way to follow up if you want to follow Mayor Johnson's Twitter feed. He releases Dallas County census, hospital census every day. So moving on a little bit, I've been listening to a lot of podcasts, had a lot of time since I was off last week, and discovered that Brene Brown has a podcast now called Unlocking Us, and have listened to several, and trying to figure out what I wanted to talk about today. I was really touched by one of her recent ones. They're all really recent because she started fairly recently. But talking about loneliness, and I think that has become something somewhat more of an issue. We're seeing concern about folks who are still quarantined, still stuck at home, folks that are stuck in rest homes and care facilities where they don't have the availability and interaction and actual face-to-face folks that their loved ones and the folks that they like to see. And I think that can lead to some loneliness. I find that we've all probably had some periods in our life, but this is a stressful time and a period where physical contact and relationships are really vital. And I just wanted to share some information with you, what I've learned, and most recently through this podcast, that there is a researcher, Julianne Holt-Lunstad, who has studied this, and the data would suggest that people with really strong social relationships are 50% less likely to die prematurely than folks with weak social relationships. Very important. Even more striking, she found that the impact of lacking social connection on reducing lifespan is equal to that of smoking 15 cigarettes a day. It's greater than the risk of obesity, excessive alcohol consumption, and lack of exercise. So that's real. And I think we need to take this seriously. She did another meta-analysis which confirmed that the higher risk of early death among lonely people is associated with greater risk of coronary artery disease, hypertension, stroke, dementia, and anxiety. And these studies suggest that lonely people had lower quality sleep, more immune dysfunction, and more impulsive behavior and impaired judgment, which can lead to higher suicides and perhaps some of the things that we're seeing in these cities across the United States, which are really frightening. So what do we do about this? I think these are really important data points, but where do we go from here? And I think that obviously it's important to connect as much as you can, do all that you can to even with whatever modality you have, FaceTime, any types of Zoom meetings, just to find some type of contact. It's not the same as being with people. I do think that there's safety in small numbers of folks, and continuing with social distancing. But I do think that we do need to have interaction. We were created for that, and we must continue to try to strive for that. I think that if you're seeking some meaning and purpose, even in the depths of all this, that looking at ways to serve and volunteering, there are great ways. If you just Google volunteer action in Dallas or volunteer availability in Dallas, there are quite a few. The food bank is a huge area of need at this point. More and more people are using it. And I think anything that you could do to try to help serve in that capacity or any capacity, whatever you can find, would be quite beneficial. And worst case scenario, seek out counseling if you really are finding this to be an insurmountable problem. And I think a lot of folks are really feeling this. So if you are, reach out, see what you can do to connect with any and all people, and really find those folks that are in your tent, so to speak, and maintain good, close relationships and contact with those folks. The other thing that was mentioned here, obviously, is that these people have lower quality sleep. And I just wanted to share a couple of things that I've been working with. I've used an app on my phone called Sleep Cycle, and that works pretty well. But recently, I decided to get an Oura Ring, O-U-R-A, Oura Ring. It's just a little ring that you can wear, and it has the ability to evaluate and reflect back to you and track your sleep. And I think that's what's important to know, is that you can only manage what you can measure. And if you're not doing any self-tracking, then perhaps you're not finding ways to help things better, to get better. And we do know that, and I find that I'm talking about this a lot here in the office, is the importance of sleep. You know, there's air, water, and then sleep, as far as just the importance that they have in our human condition. If you're still struggling with that or finding that this is a real issue for you, please let us know. I tend to try to work with non-pharmaceutical ways of trying to help you manage sleep without going to pharmaceuticals initially, but certainly we do use pharmaceuticals when needed. So just know that I don't want you out there without the ability to get a good night's sleep. So please touch base with us if you're finding that's a huge struggle for you. As I had some time off too, I just wanted to let you know that my purpose in doing this type of video each week is to serve you and to make sure that we maintain good health and ways that we can create health. This is never going to be anything that has to do with politics or the outside world. This is all about you and your health. So I'm looking forward to continuing to do these types of videos for you to help you with all aspects of your health. This past week, I've received quite a few emails and texts on certain types of treatments for COVID, which I appreciate. Please continue to send those things in. And as I have time to research and look into these, I will certainly keep those in our armamentarium for your health. I do know that for me, it has not been an overwhelming issue as far as being on the first line of treating my patients for COVID. I have not seen it particularly come up with any of my patients to any great degree. In fact, most of the testing that we've done and the only testing we have done here in the office is antibodies, and with rare exception, everybody has been negative. But please know that if you have symptoms or are concerned, feel free to call me. I will be happy to help in any way that I can and direct you any direction that we feel necessary for you to strike out and to look into as far as your health and wellness is concerned. Just know that I am trying to stay on top of everything as far as treatments and prophylaxis and initial treatments, etc. So please keep the information heading this direction as you come across them, and I do appreciate that. So everyone, have a great week. Continue to social distance. I do believe that masks are in place. Just know that there is a lot of controversy about that, but at this point, certainly in our office, we are wearing masks and will continue to do so as recommended. And we look forward to continuing to serve and helping you create health. Take care.